Have you ever found yourself replaying a conversation with a woman you liked?
Wondering, did I say the wrong thing? Did I come across as needy? Did I just ruin my chance? If you've been there, you're not alone. Every man has been in that situation, doubting himself, overthinking her texts, and trying to figure out the secret code of attraction. But here's the truth. Women are not looking for perfection. They're looking for presence, stability, and authenticity. And this is exactly where Stoicism and dating psychology collide. So before we dive in, I want you to do two things. First, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button, because I promise, the things I'm about to share can genuinely transform how you experience love and relationships. Second, stay with me until the end of this video, because understanding these 5 mistakes men should never make can literally change the way women see you forever. All right, let's begin. One night, frustrated and tired of repeating the same cycle, Daniel stumbled upon Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. He didn't pick it up for dating advice, he just wanted peace of mind. But what he found inside reshaped the way he approached women forever. By applying Stoic principles, emotional control, self-respect, and presence, Daniel stopped making the 5 biggest mistakes that most men don't even realize they're making. So let's break them down one by one. 1. Seek validation instead of respect. Let me ask you something straight from the heart. Have you ever liked someone so much that you caught yourself glued to your phone, waiting for their reply? Maybe you typed a message, deleted it, retyped it, and then checked every 5 minutes just to see if they'd read it. And admit it, your mood completely depended on whether that little notification popped up or not. Be honest. Have you been there? I have. And I'll tell you my story. There was this girl, I'll call her Aisha. The first time we met, I felt something special. She had this laugh that could light up a room, and a way of looking at me that made me feel 10 feet tall. At first, everything was effortless. We texted, we joked, we stayed up late talking about dreams and silly things. I thought, this is it. This could be real. But then something shifted. She stopped replying as quickly. Sometimes hours went by before I'd get a response. And instead of living my life, I made her responses my entire world. If she replied with a smiley face, I was on cloud 9. If she didn't reply at all, my chest tightened and my mind went into overdrive. Did I say something wrong? Is she losing interest? Am I not good enough? And here's where I messed up. Every text I sent, every joke I cracked, every plan I suggested wasn't just me trying to connect with her. Deep down, it was me begging for her approval. I was saying without saying, please like me. Please show me I matter. Now let me pause here and ask you, have you ever done this? Have you ever felt like your happiness depended on whether that one person gave you attention or not? If you have, then you know how exhausting it is. But here's the truth. Most men don't realize women can sense when a man is chasing validation, and it quietly destroys attraction. Why? Because women aren't drawn to men who need their approval. They're drawn to men who already respect themselves. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Think about that. Your strength doesn't come from her reply, her smile, or her attention. It comes from you, from how much you respect yourself. When I finally learned this lesson, something shifted. I stopped waiting by the phone. I stopped twisting myself into knots just to get a reaction. I started focusing on myself, my goals, my fitness, my friends, my purpose. And suddenly something magical happened. Women started respecting me more. They sensed I didn't need their approval, and that independence made me 10 times more attractive. So here's the golden truth. If you respect yourself first, she'll respect you too. But if you chase validation, you'll always push her away. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you put someone's opinion above your own self-respect? Think about it. Because the moment you stop doing that, your love life will change forever. 2. Overshare emotions instead of leading with strength. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been on a date or in a relationship where you felt so comfortable, so open that you started sharing every little thought, every fear and every insecurity you had? And then later you wondered, wait, did I just say too much? Did I push her away? If you've been there, I know how it feels because I've been there too. There was a time when I was seeing this amazing woman. Let's call her Lena. On our first date, everything clicked. She was charming, intelligent, And she had this calming presence that made me want to open up completely, and I thought that being totally transparent would bring us closer. So what did I do? I spilled everything. I talked about how stressed I was at work, how I sometimes doubted myself, how I was scared of failing in life. At first, she listened politely, but as I went on and on, I noticed her energy shifting. She smiled less. She looked away more often. By the end of the night, something in her eyes had changed. It was like the attraction just evaporated, and I remember asking myself, what went wrong? I was being honest. I was being vulnerable. Shouldn't that make her like me more? Here's the truth. Yes, women want vulnerability, but what they don't want is to become your therapist. They're not attracted to a man who dumps all his insecurities on them too soon, because deep down, women are wired to look for emotional safety in a man, someone who can hold his emotions, not drown in them. Now let me ask you, have you ever been in love with someone who suddenly turned you into their emotional punching bag? How did it feel? Did you feel closer to them or did you feel drained? Exactly. That's what happens when men overshare too much too fast. The Stoics had a principle for this. It's not about suppressing emotions, it's about mastering them. Marcus Aurelius himself said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That includes your feelings. Being a man of strength doesn't mean hiding your struggles. It means sharing them in a way that shows resilience. For example, instead of telling Lena, "I feel like such a failure at work, I don't know what to do," imagine if I said, "Work has been challenging, but I'm learning a lot and I'm figuring out how to handle it." See the difference? One sounds like desperation. The other sounds like strength with honesty. When you lead with strength, you invite her into your world without making her carry the weight of it. That balance, openness with resilience, is deeply attractive. So here's the lesson. Don't confuse emotional honesty with emotional dumping. Vulnerability becomes powerful when it's paired with strength. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you shared something with a woman, but later felt like you gave away too much of your weakness instead of your strength? Think about it. That one realization could change the way women see you forever. 3. Lose yourself in the relationship. Let me ask you something. Have you ever started a new relationship and, without even realizing it, slowly gave up parts of yourself just to keep that person happy? Maybe you stopped hanging out with your friends, skipped the gym, or even put your dreams on pause, all because you wanted to spend every possible moment with them. Sounds sweet, right? But here's the painful truth. It's one of the fastest ways to lose attraction. I'll tell you my story. Back when I was younger, I fell for a girl. I'll call her Sarah. In the beginning, everything was exciting. I was passionate about my career goals. I had a tight group of friends, and I was hitting the gym 5 days a week. She told me she admired my drive, my independence, and my energy. But slowly, things changed. Every time she wanted to see me, I canceled plans with my friends. When she said, "I wish we could spend more time together," I skipped the gym. When she hinted that she wanted me around more, I delayed my work projects. And in my mind, I thought, this will make her happy. This will make her love me more. But guess what happened? The opposite. She started pulling back. The very things that had attracted her, my independence, my ambition, my purpose, were gone. Instead of being the man she admired, I became a man who revolved his entire world around her. Let me pause and ask you, have you ever been in love so deeply that you slowly abandoned your own identity just to keep them close? If yes, you know how empty it feels when you look in the mirror and barely recognize yourself anymore. Here's the lesson. Women don't want to be your entire life. They want to be part of a man's already fulfilling life. When you give up your purpose, your hobbies, and your dreams, you take away the very energy that attracted her in the first place. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." Think about that. If your only ambition becomes pleasing her, then eventually you stop being the man she respected. Imagine this, 2 men are in relationships. One spends all his time trying to keep his girlfriend happy, but has no goals or purpose outside of her. The other has a strong mission. He's pursuing his career, his passions, and his growth, and he shares that journey with her. Which one do you think she'll admire more? Exactly, the second man. So here's the golden truth. Never lose yourself in a relationship. Love her, cherish her, spend time with her, but never at the cost of your identity. Because the strongest love isn't built on neediness, it's built on 2 complete people choosing to walk the path together. Now let me ask you, Are you still chasing your goals and passions? Or have you unconsciously put them on hold for love? Think carefully, because the moment you reclaim yourself, you also reclaim her respect. 4. React instead of respond. Let me ask you, have you ever had a moment where a woman said something that stung? Maybe a little tease, maybe a small test, and before you knew it, you snapped, you got defensive, raised your voice, or maybe even sulked and pulled away. And then later you thought, why did I let that get to me? Why did I overreact? If you've been there, you know how one small reaction can ruin the whole vibe. I'll share my story. A few years ago, I was dating a girl, we'll call her Mehak. Things were going well, but one evening, while we were out with friends, she made a little joke at my expense. She said, "Oh, don't let him tell the story, he always exaggerates." Everyone laughed, but inside I felt attacked. My pride kicked in, and instead of laughing it off or calmly responding, I snapped. I said something sharp back, my tone was harsh, and the energy instantly changed. She got quiet. My friends looked uncomfortable. What should have been a lighthearted moment turned into tension because I reacted emotionally instead of responding with composure. Now let me ask you, have you ever let your emotions run the show in a moment like that? Did it help, or did it push the person you cared about further away? Here's the truth. Women will sometimes test you, not because they want to hurt you, but because they want to see if you can handle pressure with grace. If you crumble, lash out, or get defensive, you're showing her that your emotions control you, and nothing kills attraction faster than a man who can't control himself. The Stoics had a saying, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That's the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is instant, emotional, and usually regrettable. Responding is calm, thoughtful, and rooted in strength. Imagine if instead of snapping at Mehak, I had simply smiled and said, "Well, I do love a good story." Suddenly the power shifts. She laughs, the group laughs, and instead of looking insecure, I look confident and unshaken. That's responding. This doesn't just apply to jokes, it applies to disagreements, disappointments, even arguments. When she cancels plans last minute, do you react with anger? Or do you respond with composure, letting her see that you're not controlled by circumstances? Women are drawn to men who remain grounded, no matter what storm is happening around them, because deep down they crave stability. So here's the lesson. Don't let emotions dictate your behavior. Take a breath, pause, and then choose a response that reflects strength, not insecurity. Now let me ask you, think back to your last argument or test. Did you react or did you respond? And how might things have been different if you had chosen composure over chaos? 5. Forget the power of mystery. Let me ask you, when you first fall for someone, don't you feel that rush of excitement, that spark of curiosity? You wonder about them, you imagine their story, and every little detail feels like a discovery. Now imagine if on the very first date, you already knew everything, every past relationship, every secret, every plan for the next 10 years. Wouldn't that kill the magic? That's exactly what happens when men forget the power of mystery. I'll share my story. Years ago, I met a woman. I'll call her Hina. From the moment we started talking, I was captivated. And because I wanted her to like me so badly, I thought, the more she knows about me, the closer we'll get. So what did I do? On the very first few dates, I poured out my entire life story. My family drama, my insecurities, every career struggle, even embarrassing stories from my past. I laid it all on the table. At the time, I thought I was building intimacy. But what I didn't realize was I was taking away the mystery. And slowly I noticed something. Her curiosity faded. She didn't lean in the same way. She didn't ask as many questions. Why? Because she already had the answers. The book was finished before the story even began. Now let me pause here and ask you, have you ever met someone who revealed everything way too soon? Did it make you more intrigued, or did it feel like there was nothing left to discover? Exactly. That's what happens when you overshare and forget the power of mystery. You see, attraction thrives on curiosity. Think about your favorite movie or TV show. What keeps you watching? It's not knowing everything at once, it's the slow unfolding, the anticipation, the little hints that make you want more. Relationships are no different. And here's where Stoicism comes in. The Stoics believed in measured speech, to speak with intention, not just to fill silence. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, What you reveal should reflect strength, wisdom, and calm, not desperation to be fully understood right away. Now don't get me wrong, mystery doesn't mean playing games or hiding who you are. It means revealing yourself gradually. Let her discover you chapter by chapter, not all at once. Share your struggles, yes, but at the right time, in the right way. Keep some stories for later. Let the relationship breathe. When you give space for curiosity, she leans in. She asks more. She invests emotionally because she's excited to see what's next. That's the power of mystery. So here's the question for you. Are you unfolding like a story worth reading? Or are you handing her the last page on the very first date? Remember, attraction isn't built in a rush, it's built in the dance of curiosity, discovery, and anticipation.
Have you ever found yourself replaying a conversation with a woman you liked?
Wondering, did I say the wrong thing? Did I come across as needy? Did I just ruin my chance? If you've been there, you're not alone. Every man has been in that situation, doubting himself, overthinking her texts, and trying to figure out the secret code of attraction. But here's the truth. Women are not looking for perfection. They're looking for presence, stability, and authenticity, and this is exactly where Stoicism and dating psychology collide. So before we dive in, I want you to do two things. First, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button, because I promise, the things I'm about to share can genuinely transform how you experience love and relationships. Second, stay with me until the end of this video, because understanding these 5 mistakes men should